Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome along to the Rolling Cup podcast. I am your host, the amazing Sniper Beef. We have hit episode number 20. Today, I am joined by my co-host, and I'll let them introduce themselves even.
Well, that went very, very smooth. Thank you very much. Hi, guys. Devastate here. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Hope all is well with you. Hopefully, Beefy doesn't mix any more things up during the course of the evening. Otherwise, it's going to be a start-stop sort of process. But once again, we've invited him back due to popular demand. We are joined by our special guest, who is
Vedak, and welcome.
Indeed.
Welcome back.
How's everyone doing?
Yeah,
very good.
I'm absolutely knackered. I'm absolutely shattered. I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning. Couldn't go back to sleep, so went on my walking pad for about 2 hours, and I'm regretting it now because I could very much fall asleep. But we power on. We must. The show must go on, as they must say. The podcast must continue. For those of you who don't know what the Raw Link Up is, let me give you a quick flavour of it. So the Link Up is a group of friends, so myself, Devastate, Vedak, and there's probably 15 others. We, for the last 26 years, people, have taken our PCs round to one of our houses. We hook them up to a LAN and take our desks and our chairs round, and we hook them up and we play PC games and order takeaway for an entire week. We've done it for 26 years and it's absolutely fantastic. And this year we started to branch out and we've created a podcast, and we are now on episode 20, which is absolutely fantastic and unbelievable at the same time. So we, on the podcast, we talk about all things gaming related and anything else that takes our fancy, really. And we get people who we want on the podcast. So I think Vedak will probably become a fairly frequent participant within the podcast because I know he's very much enjoying it as well. And we're enjoying having him on the podcast as well, so I think he'll become a staple fixture for everyone going forward. But I think without any hesitation, should we just crack on and get into some gaming news this week?
Yeah, let's go.
So I think the first one from me. Now I'm gonna say the word crypto gaming, which is probably going to turn a lot of people off. But this game is built on UE5, Unreal Engine 5. So this game looks absolutely incredible. The game is Star Atlas. I have been on Star Atlas in terms of monitoring it, following it for basically as soon as it came to the fruition, probably I want to say 3 years ago, something like that. It's not fully released yet, but this week they released about a 12-minute gameplay video of it, and it looks absolutely unbelievable. So Star Atlas is a massive open universe MMO with a multitude of different layers to it. So you've got dogfighting in spaceships, you've got first person shooting, you've got trading, you've got economy, you've got mining, processing, off-world exports, you've got an RTS element to it. So it's a massive game. And honestly, we'll put a link to the video in the description below. It looks absolutely fantastic. And on my 4K monitor as well, it looked even better. So I'm very much looking forward to when this game comes out. There's still no timeline for when it does come out. They'll be releasing elements of it in a sort of a regular rhythm, if that makes sense. They're not going to fully release the game in one foul swoop. It's going to be over a long period of time, but very excited.
Hopefully before you're 80.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, hopefully.
Could be a bit of a Star Citizen and just never come out.
Yeah.
But what about the game makes it crypto then?
So the whole economy is based around the cryptocurrency, which is Star Atlas. So they have the in-game currency, which is Star Atlas, and then they have the other part of the game, which is the... Oh God, I'm so tired. I can't remember the name of it now. I'm literally going to have to open up the DAO.
Okay,
Polis, which is the governing policy crypto element of it.
So why does the game need crypto? Well, because every game's got its own currency. So what about it makes it crypto?
So obviously you can buy any of the ships in the game with cryptocurrency. Obviously you have to buy crypto with real money.
Yep.
At the moment, the token is pretty cheap because we're in the middle. We still haven't entered the bull run of the crypto, and obviously we're not going to go too deep into the crypto discussion here. It hasn't started the bull run yet, so it's pretty cheap from an Atlas perspective. But they've got ships that you can buy all the way from sort of a few pounds all the way up to about £5 million in real world money. So a whole spectrum of ships you can buy.
I better be a Death Star.
Yeah, I mean, it's about the size of a Death Star.
I tell you what, it sounds like a scam.
And that's the thing. A lot of people will just look and go, "Oh, it's a crypto game. Yeah, it probably is a scam." I've been following this game for 3 years. I've invested quite a lot of money in it, for full disclosure. But I saw the potential of it when it first launched, and now that they've started to release more and more game footage of it, which is obviously in UE5, it looks absolutely fantastic.
So just take my. I don't really know the game at all, so you buy.
I showcased it at the link, didn't I? Yeah.
So you buy a game, you buy a ship, sorry, and you do stuff with that particular ship. Do you earn money out of it, or do you?
Yes. So there's multiple different facets to the game. So you can earn money by simply buying a ship, for example, and competing in ship racing. As a very basic level, you can run mining factions where you literally mine on certain planets, and then you get resources. You extract all the resources and then sell them on the global economy, which is obviously all done on Atlas as well. So me personally, I have a couple of mining rigs, a couple of ships, etc., which once the game obviously fully launches, I'll be able to utilize to essentially extract minerals, etc., off planets, which I can then look to either trade or sell or utilize within my own fleet. I'm part of a guild as well, so all of my tools, facilities, and minerals and all of that good stuff, etc., is obviously all pulled within my guild as well. So yeah, that's essentially how it works.
So why this over, say, something like Star Citizen, which is got one of the largest development teams I think ever?
I suppose it's personal preference.
Because that's real money as well. You have to invest.
Yeah,
some people invest like thousands, and I mean tens of thousands of pounds.
Yeah. And you can do that with Star Atlas as well. I suppose for me it was, I saw the opportunity of it when it launched, and I was like, okay, there's a cryptocurrency behind it. So for me, it makes sense. If I think it's going to be a good game, invest in that cryptocurrency anyway. And then I've just seen it develop over time, and it honestly, it's just mind blowing how big it is, and the fact that I genuinely think you can earn a stupid amount of money if you know what you're doing when it launches, which for me is I think personally, if I could put, I don't know, several hours a week into a game and earn a fair amount of chunk of money off the back of it, just from playing it correctly, shall we say, and then mining the right stuff in the right place, trading, etc.
So do you, when you mine something, can you sell that for cryptocurrency, or does that sell for currency in game?
No, so you can sell it for cryptocurrency. Yeah.
God, that sounds like an absolute.
Careful, Vedak, careful.
Yeah.
We know what you get like.
Right.
Now,
it sounds like an awful idea.
Well, it feels open to be abused, and it feels that, like, how quickly will someone create a bot that automatically mines?
And I think that's something that's probably be very prevalent within the forefront of the developers' minds, particularly given that it's in the crypto space, because we all know that there's a lot of fraud going on in the crypto space, a lot of scams, etc. So I think that's got to be fairly prevalent. But I think for someone our age who goes into a game like that, you can be sensible with it. But to your point, Devastate, someone who is a teenager, shall we say, or a late teen, early 20, then yeah, you might put a bit too much money into it and over leverage yourself in a negative way, which is what you don't, which is what nobody wants at the end of the day. But yeah, let's not get too negative. I'm very excited about it. Once it does come out, once there is a full release date, we'll obviously talk about it on here, and I will 100% be streaming that. and you need a very, very powerful rig to stream that as well. Because I think I showcased it at the link up this year. It looks very good then, but I remember trying to stream it on my old PC, which is a 2070 with 32 gigs of RAM, and it really struggled. But now with my new rig, it runs fine. So moving on, should we talk about the flop, which has been Star Wars Outlaws, from our favourite friends at Ubisoft? It scored a.
But we don't have an agenda against Ubisoft, by the way. No, we shit on them quite a lot.
Yeah,
but
so Metacritic gave it 76 out of 100, and on the Epic Games Store, even it's been rated as 3.9 out of 5, both which are mediocre at best, shall we say?
Yeah.
And apparently, it's all hands to the pump from a Ubisoft perspective to try and fix that. How they're going to fix it, I don't know. What are you going to do retrospectively once a game launches to fix it? Played X Defiant at the link up, and obviously that was quite popular when it launched, but then has subsequently done that. And then the developers are now trying to push people to play it and giving them in-game currency. So what are Ubisoft going to do to get people back or into playing Star Wars Outlaws? Vedak, obviously, you're a massive Star Wars fan. Have you played it?
Not interested.
I mean, there you go. I mean, look how much Star Wars paraphernalia that this man has in his room behind him, and he hasn't played Star Wars Outlaws. I mean, does that say a lot?
Just I just wasn't appealed by the story and the graphics. It's just the whole thing didn't. Oh, the graphics look all right, but nah, it's wasn't taken by the trailers and the people playing it to start with. The early access people, no, and I just thought, no, I'm not interested.
I think just with that game that they essentially bought the right to use it. They probably thought they could put out almost anything and it would sell and get hype, and a lot of people do that. But
it seems to me it's a backwards Star Wars game. You think about Star Wars Galaxies, what we used to play, Devastate.
Yeah.
And what you could do in that game, and then you've got this game, which is basically almost on rails. It's maybe not quite on rails because they say it's open world, but it's this. But it just seems like it's just backwards. It's gone backwards. And yes, it's pretty and it looks better, but it hasn't got the depth of something that came out 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, even though it's a separate, it feels just very single player platformer. And like once you've done the stuff, once you've done your bits and pieces, you're done with it. I mean, look, and that happens with all big single player games. A lot of games now don't have the replayability.
Didn't it have a DLC lock where there was material
coming later
already?
Yeah,
and then you have to pay extra to get access to it.
Well,
yeah,
so we spoke
loads on the podcast.
I think that was
that there's a lot of games like that have been launched in recent times where you pay 50 quid for the game, but if you want the extra bits which are already in the game, you've got to pay for the additional DLC, which is, let's say, 15, 20 quid extra, and you're like, why not just release that as part of the game so that everyone gets the joy of playing that extra DLC rather than doing a cash grab on it, and you get people moaning about it. But
because if people got excited about it, played the game, and then 6 weeks later a new mission challenge drops, like DLC, fine. And then 6 weeks later, and charge 5 quid for each of those. You could drop one every 6 weeks and people pay a £5 to play it, rather than day one DLC, download 2 things, and then don't provide anything for 3-4 months. No one's it's people have forgotten about it.
But honestly, I think you've hit the nail on the head. They Devastate. Day one DLC just needs to absolutely do one.
Yep.
I mean, absolutely. I remember when I played Halo 2 and Halo 3, DLC would come out and it would be 6 to 12 months down the line, and it would be pittance compared to the actual full game price, i.e., like a £5 or $7-8 price point. And you're not going to blink two eyes at that, are you? Literally, yeah, you're done. That's fine. I'll pay that. It's an extra couple of maps, for example, on a first-person shooter game. You're going to buy it all day long. But day one DLC, jog on. Literally, just jog on. Not interested in it.
Yeah, I agree. And look, massive Star Wars fan myself. I played the last Star Wars game that was on EA.
We played it, didn't we? The link.
Battlefront 2.
No, the last EA one, the single player one.
What was it? We also played the flying one as well, didn't we? What was the flying one?
Squadrons.
Squadrons, yeah, we played Squadrons a little bit, didn't we? We didn't play it this link, did we?
We haven't. Again, no. I mean, the server's all dead now. I mean, the game's practically.
Survivor, sorry, I played Survivor.
Oh, that was good.
Jedi Survivor, yeah.
Both the last two Jedi games were good. Those two.
Yeah,
but like going back to your point, Vedak, in that like a game can look nice, but it has to have, to Devastate's point, it has to have depth to it as well. Like it can be as pretty as you like, but if it doesn't have depth to it, like the games that we used to play 20 odd years ago, 15, 20 years ago, then
it looks clunky. I don't think it's that. I think there's depth there. Looking at the combat and the feedback that people have given, even back in early access, was it plays horribly.
I think it's just on your point, Beef. Years ago, we had terrible graphics, but the games that did incredibly well were games that did combat really well, games where the gameplay made sense, made you feel immersed, made you want to carry on playing the game. It was an enjoyable experience, and we didn't necessarily care for the graphics as long as that's anyone who's grown up from NES or Commodore 64 and various console generations and PC gaming throughout the years. Like, we've had an evolution of graphics. I think that I think the gameplay must be sidestepped to make the game the prettiest thing possible, and graphics. So, like, you go and watch game trailers. They're all, well, look how amazing this looks. Look at the cinematography of the game. Look at, and then you come to play the game, and you're like, I played a game 2 months ago. I downloaded it, installed it, looked pretty. I played it for 25 minutes and I uninstalled it. Just because it's just not a fun game.
Look at Command and Conquer. All the iterations of that. Like, it didn't look very good in terms of graphically pleasing, was it? But how many hours did just the three of us put into Command and Conquer Red Alert or Generals or even Tiberian Sun? Like, how many hours?
I used to play Vedak online at Generals.
Yeah, I remember.
I remember the first time you were like, "Do you want to play?" I got absolutely smashed. It absolutely wiped the floor.
I was really good at that game. There's this. We have a friend, a mutual friend. In fact, opposite Beefy, you know, Bruce, back in the old days, and he drove this massive, they weren't mammoth tanks. Were they mammoth tanks?
They were mammoths, the Chinese
overlord tanks, and he had this massive army, and he was riding up, and I had that Jarman Kell, the sniper dude that shot people out of the vehicle, and all the way up from his base, I had little places that you could pop out your people, your little workers, the little camo, because it was a camouflage.
They were horrific.
And so I was sniping his vehicle, nicking his tank, sniping his vehicle, nicking his tank. And by the time the army got to me, it was my army. I just turned it all round. It's just so bad that game was.
And that's the thing. That game did not look pretty, compared to what games do nowadays. But my God, it had, you could just play it endlessly. So yes. Anyway,
and then they did 4, and it was so bad it killed the franchise.
Yeah. and then they, I want to say about 7 or 8 years ago, they were going to bring it back, and they were re-released a game in beta beta testers only, and it got such negative feedback that they canned the franchise completely.
Because they relaunched it a couple of years ago, didn't they? In
Remastered.
Yeah, remastered. And me and Massa never played it. And I was like, it's not what it used to be.
It was Petrograph. It was another studios that had taken over, because Westwood's gone, obviously. Westwood Studios is...
It got bought by EA. Westwood got bought by EA.
And they gave it to Petrolift to remaster into that new thing. And the plan was for them to then do, Red Alert 2 and Yuri's Revenge and so on. But because it did really poorly, that was it. It was again...
Yeah, me and Massa never played literally one game of it, and that was it. And I was like, yeah, it hasn't got the same appeal anymore. It looked better than the original, a lot better, but it just didn't tick the boxes that we needed it to.
I do wonder just with that when I went to play it, it was so rapid and so quick. It was so, like you play. It was basically a rush RTS game, and we got so used to RTSs being in the scenes style, or you play Civ and they're long drawn out games. Yeah. Whereas
1 and 2 were rushes. Red Alert 1 and Command and Conquer were definitely rush games anyway.
Yeah,
but I think we got used to playing RTS of the modern era, which are not rush games.
Yes.
That when going to Command and Conquer, that it was like, I'm just so not used to this way of playing an RTS.
Yeah, because if you took me back into StarCraft 2, which I quite liked, and obviously Enforcer Nails liked it as well, from an RTS standpoint, I don't think I'd enjoy that one anymore. To your point, Devastate, in that I like the idea of Sins in that you have time to almost plan it out. But then when you get to the point in Sins where you've been playing it enough and you've got an army and you basically click your fingers and away you go, you're like, oh, okay, right, now we're really going.
Yeah.
But it's still not like lightning fast. You still have time to react to it. Whereas, yeah, to your point, Vedak, in terms of rushing, I don't know of any games at the moment from an RTS perspective which have launched recently. There are kind of talk which have launched recently are similar to that in terms of you have to rush. Can't think of any.
I don't know any.
No. Anyway, what's next on the agenda? Devastate, what did you have in the news this week?
Couple of things. I returned to streaming on Friday.
I saw the 5.5 hour stream.
Yeah, so I did 5.5 hours on Friday. I did 4 hours, 3.5 hours on Monday.
I think that's FIFA, isn't it?
That is the new EAFC25 that came out full release on Friday.
And what card did you pull?
I pulled a tradable Mo Salah, which is one of the top 10 cards in the game. So, yes, incredibly lucky to pull that. Had some other decent pulls as well. An 87 Declan Rice. Perhaps an 85, a Pender.
But the Mo Salah card you said to me at the weekend was worth like 150 quid in like real world money.
Yeah, we had a bit of a market crash on Tuesday. But yeah, about 100 to 150 quid, I reckon.
Nice. That's a win.
Like if you were to transfer it and sell it for coins, maybe, about 100 quid, something around that number.
You could in theory just sell it, and that's your year's gaming paid for, isn't it? Because your EA pass is about 100 quid for the year, isn't it?
Yeah. So I pay for EA Play Pro. So with that I get all the games released on the EA app, and that's so I get the premium version of EAFC25, which means because the official release date is on this coming Friday, but I get it a week earlier, and you also get some points and some other bits and pieces, but it allows you to get on the game and do a lot of stuff. So I think I played about 40 odd matches in the 5 days.
Wow,
It's 5 days. It's been out.
That's a lot of matches.
Probably more than that. So I've complete. So for those who understand the game, I've got all my rivals wins. Got promoted up into Div 6.
But more importantly, Devastate has a full-time job as well. So he has a full-time job.
To be fair, the only time I've played the game, I was all on that stream, on those two streams,
Friday.
And I had to play some today.
Yes, we were out on Saturday celebrating Devastate's birthday, so that was a gone. I'm guessing you were hungover on Sunday.
I was.
Yeah, because we did a lot of celebrating on Saturday. He hasn't had a lot of time, but the time that he has, he's put. How long is a match? 10 minutes.
So if you play a versus computer, which is called a squad battle. That is 4-minute half, so about 10 to 12 minutes total to have one of those games. You play online, I want to say they're 6-minute halves, but they might be. Yeah, there's 6-minute halves. Not 8 minute. They might be 8-minute halves.
Yeah, it's probably done 10, 12 hours.
Well, all of the streaming has been me on that game.
Yeah.
So, we're over almost 10 hours of streaming.
Yeah,
and what I played this evening, and I'll be back on Friday there's a promo. Road to the Knockout promo is out, so I'll be opening packs. Yeah, so I've had I've had on online competition. I have won 15, lost 4, drawn 2. Wow.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. I mean, presumably it helps having that Mo Salah card, I presume, yeah?
Yeah. I've had some great packs. So, Apenda, which great striker, just a very quick strike. You want fast technical players the early part of the game. So, he's a fast, quick player. I've got Anthony Gordon, which I've evoed, so to giving him a little boost. I've got some okay defenders. I went and bought Allison for goal. So, yes, done okay. Mo Salah's definitely helped. But, yeah, playing everything through. So I'll be live on Friday. Come and check me out on twitch.tv/The Royal Link Up. Come and say hello. But moving on, the thing I wanted to talk about was just a very brief, for those who don't know. So there's a game called Power World, which is a sort of spin of Pokemon. It's a bit more of almost an adult version.
Survival game.
Yeah, a bit more of an adult version of Pokemon, I would say.
This sounds so wrong. An adult version of Pokemon.
But it's a bit darker and there's a bit more like killing people and stuff. But Nintendo has filed a lawsuit this week, which also suddenly coincides that we had EA State of Play this week, and Power was announced on EA State of Play as a game coming to the PS5. Awesome. That being said, so you would have thought that the Nintendo lawsuit would have been for copyright infringement. And if you go and look for them, they're almost 1-for-1 character designs. For every Pokemon that exists, there is a Power World character that looks almost identical. But it's not. It is for patent infringement, which is strange, because if they look the same, then surely you go after them for copyright. So they're not going after them for copyright, because there are some little challenges with even Nintendo's copyright. Because other people can claim that Pokemon have copied their characters before it. So they're all in that muddy water. But what they are going after them for is the patent of how the game is played. And the main one, I think there's 3 different ones, but the main one is using a ball to capture an animal or creature. And apparently there is a video game patent that Nintendo owns that allows them to go to a lawsuit. I think it's a whole load of BS.
I mean,
it won't hold.
If they've got a patent for it, then the opposition have got no leg to stand on.
I think that this is a flex.
Yeah, it could be. Could be.
Because the Power developers have said, look, we've had to pause a lot of our stuff that we had planned for you simply because of this lawsuit and stuff like that. They're launching on PlayStation 5. I think I'm not even sure if it's already out. It'll be out anytime now.
On the PS5 Pro, make sure you get the disc drive.
Yes.
Oh.
And
did you see the Skeletor meme that's going, a Skeletor clip that's going around? It's effectively Skeletor announcing it.
I did. Yes. I did see it. Yes, it's very good.
This line is new. Honestly, yeah, it was hilarious.
But we'll keep you updated. I think it's just a throwing your weight around tactic to disrupt them. We'll see what happens. And the other thing I want to touch on, which is relating to PlayStation 5 Pro, sorry. Without the disc drive, is that it now sounds like Concord's total losses to Sony could be north of $400 million.
I mean, it's just pocket change, isn't it? I mean,
I'll write a check.
Vedak's got 400 million just in the figurines and masks just in his bedroom there. So I mean, it's just pocket change to us.
But yeah, but the people within Sony were so confident. There is now an ongoing thought process. Is the reason why the PS5 Pro video, like even the games bit, was a bit crap, was because the understanding was that Concord was going to take up such a large chunk of what was going to be demoed during the PS5 Pro's launch that they've had to rush around and try, and they've ended up like using Hogwarts Legacy, which is an old game. All the stuff that they end up using was like older footage that wasn't going to be the headline.
That's
so
hilarious.
Yeah, so
talk about an absolute
shit show. Yeah, brilliant. And then what's been talked about internally is that they had committed even more money than the 400 million. So the 400 is what we know about, but they've currently got other games in development and that are linked to this that have already sunk costs into. The new, I think it's the new Spider-Man game, 350 million. Like it's cost them. This has cost more than that. It's cost more than the next Last of Us. It's cost more. Like it's. I mean, it's a worldwide. It is like on the fuck ups. It's one of the biggest we've ever seen. They were there was an internal thing. They were going to stand behind Concord so much, and I heard this in another podcast from someone who's got some information, so I will credit them in the description of this video. I can't remember the name of the podcast who had the information about it, but they were saying that Concord was going to be, it's Fireworks Studios, but Sony's Star Wars franchise game. They have banked on the future of this game to do everything, and that's why they apparently Fireworks Studio had already spent 200 million before Sony bought the studio.
Oh wow!
So the sunk cost on, it's almost like this sunk, and they were already working like on another release of the game as well. So it's like that. I mean, there is a number here that at some point will come out. But the numbers are truly staggering.
It's a question. I wonder how far into the process did someone realise, oh my god, this is going to be shit, but we've sunk so much money into it. I can't do anything about it. Do you reckon there was a point that one of those developers thought, this is going to not. This is not.
On the flip side, Vedak, it could be that they genuinely thought it was a good game, and then when it released, obviously it just nosedived off the face of the planet, and then they went, "Oh shit, we have really royally screwed ourselves here with the amount of money we put into it." And then the executives have gone, "Okay, right, here's my notice. I'll see you later."
Like people, like there was going to be so many heads that roll after this when the dust finally settles. But it's also important to remember that this game was in development for 8 years, and so during that time, we've had Fortnite come out, which changed the landscape. You think about all those games that have come out during an 8-year period, then they've gone, like they've had to, how many times do you reckon they've had to change what they've done over 8 years? I think you can't, unless you're Grand Theft Auto, you cannot have a game developed for 8 years, and unless you're a solo indie dev and you're not relying on mass appeal and you're trying to release something and you get a few thousand sales, happy days on Steam. Yeah. But you can't have a game like this with no prior success. So, for example, Grand Theft Auto, what's it coming out every 10 years, something like that now. But the reason why they can bank and spend their $2 billion that they spent on it is because they can guarantee that money coming in. It was a guarantee. This company couldn't do that. And they spent this amount of money and spent 8 years developing it. At some point, someone said, this is a great game. Some people showed, the indie studio owners would have shown that to Sony, and Sony said yes. The indie studio said yes. The devs, they may or may not have been happy. But people, in order for it to get to this stage, so many people had to say yes.
And whoever the buck stops with, they've got a bit of a problem in 2024, a little bit of a hole to fill in the.
My guess is it's going to be find very difficult to get a new job when they go, "Where did you work previously?" Well,
Concord with the aeroplane. Yeah, the aeroplane. No, I didn't either. Well, did it? No. But yeah. Moving on.
Yes, let's move on. And again, do you know what? It's such a fascinating story on Concord and the Sony and the whole play. As soon as we hear other little facets, we'll keep dropping them in because I just think it's important that we do talk about probably the biggest gaming fuck up of all time.
Yeah.
So yes, moving on.
We are MetaQuest as well.
Or but just before MetaQuest, Vedak, just before MetaQuest, we are 1 month away from the launch of Call of Duty Black Ops 6. So October the 25th. We're recording this on the 25th of September. We are 1 month away from the full launch of the game. The beta was obviously fairly frequently. There was a hell of a lot of changes out of the beta, which is going into the full game, which is very pleasing to see. From weapons, spawn points, maps, movement updates, kill orders, equipment, etc. So it looks like there's going to be a hell of a lot of changes from the beta, which is very, very good to see. And I love the fact that it's going to be coming straight out on Xbox Games Pass. So if you've got Xbox Games Pass, you're going to be getting it straight away. I've got Xbox Games Pass, so I think I probably will get it. But I think because of the game that it is, I think I might treat myself to a controller pad because I just prefer playing first-person shooter on a controller pad over keyboard and mouse. And I know you'll flame me all of the.
Wild.
Yeah. I grew up on Halo 2 and Halo 1 on the joypad, and I just prefer first-person shooters with a joypad.
Surely you can't be any good though compared to somebody with a mouse and keyboard. Surely they're just killing you every time.
I mean, I'm a professional gamer, Vedak. This is what we need to remember. I was top 600 of 2 million on Halo 2 when it was out. I was basically one of the best players in the world.
All of those people were playing on a gamepad. So what I'm saying is, like for like, there is not a chance that you on a gamepad versus someone on a keyboard and mouse. Like, there's not a chance that you can win.
No,
Well,
definitely.
you'd have to be in the elite of the elite, and as much as you think you are, you're not.
I mean, I'm one of the best snipers we've ever seen. We obviously know this from the Battlefield days, and that legacy has continued to the present day. Anyway, moving on to the MetaQuest 3S.
Yeah.
3S. That's come out with it's a cheaper price point of with 128 gig of storage or RAM.
Storage.
Storage. And it's got the same processor, but it's got the old, I think the lenses are from the Quest 2.
Okay. But it's a decent price point, is it? It's not like it's not a price point where you go, oh no, there's not a chance that I'm going to look.
I think they said it's about £200 cheaper.
Yeah.
$300. So we're waiting to see what happens when that converts over to so whether it'll be 300 quid or an appropriate.
Will drop.
Yeah,
it's going to drop to 430 and 500.
Yeah, so you would think the 3S would probably be what in the three would be 250, 300 bracket somewhere around there, wouldn't you? Would I buy it? Maybe, but not for me. It'd be more for the kids than anything. But yes.
Vedak, have you got a VR headset?
I have, in a box I do. I have the HTC Vive.
Yeah.
So that was one of the first, and it had the little pods.
Yeah, before you put around the room.
When was the last time you used a VR headset?
Not since I moved house.
Yeah.
I think I would if I had the something that was wireless and I had to rely on the pods, and it had a cable that used to get tangled up. And also I've got to be careful in here because if I'm swinging around and I smash a piece of memorabilia off the wall, you've
got 400 million in that room, haven't you? So a lot of money in that room. But yeah, no, I definitely agree that a wireless headset has far more appeal than a wired one. But I mean, I remember when the what's the one that your brother's got?
He's got the Quest. He's got the Quest 3.
No, what was the original one that he had?
He had the same as me.
He had the Vive. I remember when he demoed that at the Link Up, and that would have been nearly probably 10 years ago now. Yeah. That was mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing.
Good games on it as well.
Yeah, really good.
Some really cheap ones were. Some of the cheap ones were good.
I mean, I remember my wife doing the roller coaster experience, and I went on it. I was like, absolutely not. Take it off. Not interested. But no, I mean, that 3S. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but that 3S is definitely. I would think if it's at £250 price point, say 24999, that's at a reasonable price point that I think a lot of parents would probably delve into for Christmas.
It's almost at that price. It's almost that price point that you can just like gamble with and go, look, if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. I'm not. I haven't sunk £500, £600, £700, £800 into it and almost be forced. So.
Yeah, like you know what we should try without the disc drive. What should we try?
We should go to one of those. Is it zero latency?
Yeah.
Supposedly they've got. I'm not too sure where it is, but there's one that does a Warhammer experience, Warhammer 40k. You play as like Space Marines or something.
That'd be interesting.
I'm not.
I mean, Massanevra's really into Warhammer, isn't he? Massanevra loves Warhammer so much. He spent £1,500 on an army. I think it was 14 years ago, and he still hasn't opened it or painted it. It's still in the box that it arrived in.
That's probably that's worth double. That's worth double the amount that he's paid for it. By the way, it's worth so much now.
Oh yeah, because quite a lot of it, because it was some of the rare stuff that it's gone out of print now. So it's because it was quite a lot of it was metal and it's all gone.
I mean, it's whether he can get the sellotape off the box, Vedak. That's the main thing. I mean, he's been propping up his bed for the best part of 10 years. So
is the dust in fact imprinted now on the box? Like you can't even clear the dust off of it.
I mean, it's just a shame that he's not here to defend himself, and then he's going to listen to the podcast and go, they've been bitching about me, and then I'll get a WhatsApp go, why were you talking about me on the podcast? Well, you weren't here to defend yourself.
If anything's wrong, Put it in the comments below. Defend yourself in the comments
or
below.
Join us next week.
Yes.
Join us next week on the podcast. And that goes for anyone else who wants to come on the podcast, as always. What else have we got to talk about this week? Is there anything else from a news?
No, I'll just quickly mention that Satisfactory, which is this new factory building game, which came out 2 weeks ago, looks absolutely incredible. It's currently ranking number 6 on Players Online, 123,000 active players at the moment.
I don't get the appeal of it.
It's a building game.
Yeah, it's a build up. I've looked at it and I'm like, it looks good, but I don't get the appeal of it.
But then, for example, like does like a City Skylines appeal to you, which is City Build? But that game is wildly huge and it's like got a massive audience. So
give me theme park.
Wow.
Or Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Well, we've got Planet Coaster 2 coming out. In November the 4th.
Hang on, what's Planet Coaster?
Oh my God, where have you been living?
He's not really a gamer, is he?
So Planet Coaster is the spiritual successor to Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay, yeah.
Made by Frontier. The detail you can go into is unbelievable. You can literally choose, what stone goes where. It's that incredible detail. And
it.
You can.
£54.
Yeah, it's a biggie.
The deluxe edition, £54.
Yeah, it's a big game. So that's been announced, and also RE History Untold that just came out on the 24th, and that's not doing so well either. So back when Civilization 4 and 5 came out, the developers, some of them left to go form this Oxide Games under Xbox Studios.
Yeah.
And that just come out, and 2 days in, the reviews are mixed.
Okay, well, I think that's about it for this week. Anything else from you, Vedak, or you, Beef?
No. I think I might look for a new joypad for the Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I think it looks pretty good, so I might do that over the next couple of weeks. But apart from that, I think we are done with this week's podcast. So thanks everyone for listening and tuning in. We really appreciate it as always. We would love it if you would drop a like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and obviously like it on any other platforms that you're listening on. Well, I think until next time, thanks for watching. I have been the Amazing Sniper Beef.
My name's been Devastate.
And I'm the Amazing Vedak.
Catch you later, peeps. Bye.
See you later. Bye.